Welcome to your daily dose of theological German. We are on installment number 14 of the Kulttheologie of the Letter to the Hebrews, this book here by Gäbel. And yeah, we're on page 386 in case you're wanting to look it up and haven't heard me say that before. So let's get to it. So on the whole, this sentence is pretty straightforward, but I will just point out a couple of things as I'm translating, and that'll probably suffice for today's episode. But the commas here are a little misleading because most of the time in German, commas are being used to separate clauses or else to just like separate lists of items like they do in English. But in this case here, we actually have a case where the sort of structure of the clause goes all the way down to the end of the sentence, and you've got this offset clause in the middle. And really what's happening with these commas is it's actually just offsetting this whole chunk as kind of filling out what this thus is referring to and kind of connecting back to what was said in the previous sentence. And so you'll kind of see how that works in English, but the important thing is in German you might have been looking for some complement to your first verb up here by the comma because you know, you thought that was the end of the clause, but no, it's a single clause sentence. There's just this offset phrase, and that's important to keep in mind. So with that, let's go ahead and translate it. Thus, and so you have this as technically an adverbial modifier, and so your verb then is in second position, so your subject then has to come after the verb. So here's your subject, the purification of the heart. Now your main verb, which is to say your conjugated verb, is the sein verb. Here you'll see it as ist. And very often this verb is going to be complemented, which it is in this case down at the end of the clause with a participle. And when that happens, in English it just comes out sounding like a passive, and April Wilson even calls this the fake passive. But in German, passives are made with the werden auxiliary verb. But the point here is that sein is functioning as an auxiliary to verstanden, being to understand or something like that. So when you translate it, it'll just sound passive in English, but it's just important to see how that syntax is working so that you actually account for both verbs in the sentence here. So this says, thus, the purification of the heart is understood also in 1022 in the soteriological sense as the removal of the awareness or consciousness of sin. So it's a pretty straightforward clause once you account for that offset phrase, and you can just kind of like translate it straight through. So I hope you found that edifying. As always, thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe and all those good things. See you next time.